human condition to question and to seek the truth, with scrutiny of the mind to make sense of that which cannot be explained.
Delving into the abyss of all things supernatural, our mission to find truth and transmit the knowledge of all things convoluted.
These are the Chronicles of the Arcane.
Hey guys, this is Samantha and Jamie's here with me.
What up?
And this is the third episode of Chronicles of the Arcane. We want to thank you guys for coming back week after week to listen to our craziness. On this episode, we're going to have a pretty special interview with Maegan Hagan and Dana Hagan of Moonbow Beam. They are some pretty talented empaths. They hit the nail on the head with several things with us. So we hope you guys enjoy this interview. Also, we kind of want to apologize because of the sound quality of this interview. We conducted it outside and we didn't take the proper precautions, I guess.
Yeah, there's a very audible dog
and there's
dog yapping and
there's some cars, but it's not that bad. Like we said, just bear with us while we figure out the editing and all that stuff.
There is some tranquil bird noises. I kind of like those.
Yeah, I mean, we had a pretty good time with this interview, and
it was very fun.
It was fun. You'll be able to tell how much fun we're having. Unfortunately, we had to edit out some of the more interesting bits, but they weren't quite appropriate, unfortunately.
But they were hilarious.
They were hilarious, and you never know. We might share those later.
Yep.
Because they were pretty great.
They were pretty
Those
great.
girls are hilarious. And we definitely want to recommend that you guys check them out. But without further ado, here's our interview with Moonbow Beam. Okay, let's get like a little bit of background so we can introduce you guys more.
Yes,
formally.
because the story of how we all met is way more powerful than anything that I can do by myself.
Well, then I definitely want to hear about that.
Okay. Well, here is how it all came to be. My grandmother was a traveling gypsy. Like, she was a Jewish mystic. That was, you can go to people's houses and you told them their fortune, you know. So she had always had the gift. She did palms like we were talking about, but she also did tarot. She taught it to my dad, and then my dad taught it to me. Around my 9th birthday, though, things started falling into place in my spiritual life that were kind of spooky. Grandmother had a stroke, and the month before she had a stroke, she came to me in a dream, and she said she was going to die on her birthday. And that was my very first experience into the supernatural. A month later, on her birthday, in the dream, she had come to me, and she was an angel, and she was pointing to, they used to have those old wooden calendars,
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, how you could put the advent calendar together and stuff like that. Yeah. She pointed to her birthday, and she said, I'm going to die on this day. I woke up screaming, crying, you know, and my parents were like, you know, freaking out. Their kid had just prophesied about their grandmother's, you know, death.
Right.
A month later, I was going to take her gift, and it was about 9 o'clock at night, and I call my grandpa, and I say, Grandpa, can I come over? I want to bring Grandma her gift. And he said, you can't come now. There's ambulances at the door. She's having a stroke, and we need to get her to the hospital. So about a few hours later, they come in, and she has had a stroke, and she's died. And so that was my very first experience into the supernatural.
Me too.
Really?
Yes.
See, that's the one thing about it.
How old were you?
I was, I want to say I was born in 85. Grandma died.
We've never talked about, like, you know, the beginning.
I guess not.
Mine was, I was in 4th grade, and I really liked this guy. And I had a dream that he came up to me, you know, in the elementary schools, they have that long cabinet with the sink on the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was over there, and I was doing something, and he came up, and he asked me to go with him. You know, like how you like at that age. And then the next day I went to school, but it happened exactly the way that I had dreamed it. I mean, like when he came up to me, I was standing at the exact same place in my dream, and I guess it would be deja vu kind of. I feel no, really it was, I guess, I saw the future, and I was in 4th grade. That was the very first time that I ever felt anything.
Scientifically speaking, a lot of studies that they have done on this, it shows that children first have their experience in 4th grade. Actually, that was the year my grandma died, when I was in 4th grade. I don't remember how old I was, but I was in 4th grade.
Right, so right around the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny how things come full circle. You know, I mean, like you look for signs. I look for signs like that all the time. And there's also a book. It's called The Alchemist.
Yes.
That is about, he's a goat herder, but he starts following his signs, and it's a really good book, but it's about following your signs, and if you continue to ignore your signs, then they go away from you. But you have to continue, because he made these big leaps of faith.
I'm a very big believer in that. I believe that you have to stay in touch with, because that was the one thing my dad was a very big believer on, was staying in touch with your gift, Maegan. Because he would see things like, I had this journal, and I would write about things that I really wanted to come true. And then they would always come true the next day, you know? Mm-hmm. Real weird things like that. Mm-hmm. Now, fast forward, my dad had died. And Dana is my sister-in-law. Mm-hmm. Well, Dad also, he was very big believer on not telling people about my gift. He felt like I already had enough going against me. I mean, you all know me. I have a weight issue, you know. He didn't want people.
Don't we all grow?
Carbs.
Just love good food.
Me too.
But he knew I had enough going against me, you know, so he wanted me to keep it a secret. Well, Dad died, and he was kind of the person that had always taught me how to reel it in. Mm-hmm. So then I've been reeling it in all of these last...
Because we didn't know.
No, Dana did not know. So then one night, Dana, you can step in from here. And,
okay. I'm not going to give, like, details, but May... I was in an abusive relationship, and May came to me, and she was like... She said something exactly what he had said to me, and she was like, what's going on? I heard this. And then I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. How did she know that? You know, like when you're in a room and only two people are there, and she said things word for word. I was like, do you have cameras? Because they lived upstairs. I was like, do you have cameras in my house? But then that kind of like opened up a door. It did. Don't you think? And then so Jen went to Books of Maegan and got
she
those.
She was looking at tarot cards. I don't know why, but it was fairy tale tarot.
Well, just because like we felt like, I mean, we unlocked something in you. You embraced it a little bit more. Like now you're not ashamed of it. Because remember when I was asking people, she was. And I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Do it. And then like I even had a vision. She got so good for a while. I had this vision of her like in this trailer, and she's a diva, and she's like ruling everybody. I'm the queen. I'm the queen. I mean, you know, like just going out of control with it. But that didn't happen.
I am kind of like that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, she had her trailer, and we were like her peasant servants. She was like Naomi Campbell or something.
I am kind of a fame whore anyway. So I mean,
yeah, I totally saw it. I was like, oh my God, we have unleashed a monster.
All I really want out of life is to be famous.
I just want to be famous.
But she had this experience, and then we kind of just went from there. A lot of things have changed in the last 3 years, but what hasn't went away is our powers.
But it was after her dad died, really. It was almost like, I felt like he kind of bestowed that on you, even stronger, maybe.
But it was like that when my grandma had died, his powers became stronger. I guess it's,
yeah.
generational. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough studies on stuff like that.
And actually, I have a friend, and he told me that my mom was a witch, but she never, because, I mean, and she did do things like, we used to go to the church, and she would take a thermos and get holy water and take the hose. And then when we were bad, she would sprinkle us, like she would dip her hand in the thermos and sprinkle us with holy water and say, "Devil be gone, devil be gone." And I mean, we were Catholic, but we weren't like Pentecostal religion.
Right.
You know, I mean, we went to church on Sundays. We weren't like really religious like that. But I used to jump behind this chair that was catty cornered. I'd jump behind there and she'd be sprinkling holy water on me for punishment. But
her mom was a
but
good.
yeah, after she died, my friend called me and he was like, "Dana, your mother needs to talk to you." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah, come over." And I mean, that was, I've never been like a media. I've never experienced that, you know.
Right.
But he kind of like zoned out, and then it drains all your energy afterwards. And she said that, and it was true. I mean, I know a lot of people don't believe, but there are things about yourself that even go on in your brain that nobody knows, you know, just even crazy thoughts. And he knew something like that he would not know.
So I kind of want to know how you know that a feeling's coming through, because I guess I don't get anything like that. So what does it feel like, I guess?
A gut reaction. I've been in the same room with a pedophile before, and I'm like, there's something off with that person. Mm-hmm. It's like anytime that's happened, there's a real itchy feeling to my stomach, and I'm like, ooh, something's off with that person. And this has happened before where I had been in the same room with him, and something just said something's not right about him, you know. Mm-hmm. And then it had become to find out that he had been touching my really good friend at the time's daughter.
Oh, gosh.
And yeah, it was really a bad situation. But luckily they were able to get help and get him out of their life and get him locked up. You know, it was...
Yeah, for me, I don't have a... things just come to me. And I've said that before because I've always been interested in... I mean, my mom took me to fortune tellers growing up. You know, I mean, that we did that for fun. But, I mean, really. And... so I always thought, I don't feel it. How am I supposed to feel it? You know, almost like religion, how you feel Jesus, you know? Right. I mean, not to compare that to religion, because I know that this is supposed to be sacrilegious, but I feel like that everybody has gifts. I think God gave the gifts.
You don't think that it, like, contradicts each other or anything?
I don't, no.
I don't either.
No, and a lot of, like hoodoo and voodoo, and they're religions. Right. I mean, voodoo is a religion, you know, so no, I don't think that. I think that somebody came up with that at some point, and it's went down in history as bad. Usually, as far as like reading people, I'm really good at reading people. It's like, it's connecting the dots. Yes. Even sometimes I see things in people. I went out with this one guy, and he was not a good person.
Really not a good person?
Yeah. No, this is a different one. Okay. I've had lots of not good persons. But I was standing behind him, and I was watching him walk, and this thought just came to me, and it was like, you're nothing but a petty thief. And he was a thief. You know, like I found out afterwards. But it just, I don't know, it just, you have to listen to yourself, and you have to believe in yourself, just like those signs. And it takes a long time to, you know, because you think you get these crazy notions and you dismiss them because we're supposed to be something else in society,
right?
You know, no, and whatever. I trust, and I'm still bad about not trusting myself.
That was part of the issue why I was so ashamed of it, is because, you know, there is, if you say something like that in parts of Kentucky, or you know,
we're in the Bible Belt.
We are in the Bible Belt. And so I think that's been the big issue it's been the main reason why Dana and I have come forward with a lot in public.
Well, you know? I feel like that you were so ashamed of it that I grew up with it. Yes. I didn't grow up with it like my mom practicing, obviously, but you know, I remember going to this lady in Evansville, and her name was Miss Utley, and she had the Avon samples of lipstick, and you would put lipstick on, and you would kiss a paper, and she would read your lip lines. And Mom let us do that.
Yes, that, and let me tell you.
Yeah, she read lip lines.
That's another thing that's so amazing to me is the different mediums people use to see the future. I mean, palms,
it's focusing, or a crystal ball, like to be.
Or crystals, or tea leaves.
Runes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing. Or numbers. I am big with numbers.
She is
like
really good with
numerology
numbers.
Just seeing numbers, dates. Like I see that your birth date is September 24th. That's wild. But I will say what you were talking about, Trent. Whenever I first saw Trent, people hear the story of how we got together. Trent's my husband, you know.
Right.
My husband of 7 years, but the first time I saw him, it was like gravity was pulling me to his body, and I saw our future. You said you were talking about how you were seeing things, calling him a petty thief. I was seeing our future unfold between us now and from the time we got married until the time we died. And I was like, I'm supposed to be with this person.
You just know.
We were married within 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, there was never a second I didn't know I was supposed to be with him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that you were just talking, I think probably numbers, the most powerful reading you've had was with Laura.
Laura.
Or her sister. I wasn't there.
No,
I mean,
you're
you were
right.
on
Yes,
it. You
I
knew
remember
so
that.
much
Sorry,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
Over the last few years, you know, we have built up a small business, and we, there have been a few people that, you had to jog my memory, yes, that one day that I was cranking out numbers of her dad's.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, I was like,
numbers. It's crazy.
yeah, and usually, like, when she sees things, it's like, okay, a 3, and that could be 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months. You know, I mean, or 3 years, whatever, but it's a
number
3.
is going
She
to be
sees numbers a
specific
lot.
to you, and you're going to have that number play out. For you specifically, I see 2, and I want to say it's 2 months. I feel like January is going to be a great month for you.
I hope so. Sounds awesome.
4 for you. I see 4 being a really good, let's see, it's November now, December, January, February, March. I want to say March, April. Things are going to be really, really amazing for you. So I just want to predict that. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but.
Awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about tarot?
Yes. Well, my whole life was behind the scenes.
Right.
Of, you know, my dad's friends coming over. My dad never did it as a business. He only did his friends and people he knew. He was very ashamed of it. Yeah, and he was a man practicing it.
Right.
So all of a sudden he is seen as being, you know, it makes him look like he's a girl to
like
some.
effeminate.
Yes,
That's
yes.
weird. Yeah.
And so he didn't let anyone see, you know. My whole childhood, though, was watching him and observing him, you know, doing it. Now, that's my life. I use it as my medium, but a lot of times I don't need it. It's just kind of what I use, you know, to help me out.
Right.
Right, to tell a story.
Yeah, and it does tell a story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody is suspended in a time where they don't feel like they're moving forward in their life, a lot of time I'll get a hangman. And in the hangman card, you see them upside down and, you know, they can't move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're suspended.
Somebody that's foolhardy and sees somebody that does things with a whim and is very reckless. I see that in the Fool card. They'll get the Fool card a lot.
The addiction card.
The addiction card. Oh, you have to understand. A lot of the people that I read, they have addiction issues. So
a lot of people have addictions. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have some sort of.
I mean,
addiction.
yeah, sex addiction. Yeah,
Anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, food.
And so the devil comes up a lot for that. The devil card will come up for that. You know.
Right, and a lot of people, you know, people are scared. I found, like, oh, I don't want to get the death card, or I don't want to get the devil card. You know, that's automatically a bad sign.
Yes.
It's not
Or the tower.
necessarily.
Now, but the tower is bad.
Kind of a bad card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Towers, that's the one you don't want because your whole life is turning upside down if you're getting the tarot.
But with that, I mean, you can always make a positive out of a negative, you know.
But I will say when I get
it, like death, it can be an end of a situation. The situation is dead. And, you know, a lot of times, okay, you break up with somebody, and I'm using like romance, but you break up with somebody and you think that's the end of the world, but then something better comes along. So the death card is like a death of a situation. The devil usually means addiction. Like the devil card is the devil, and he has people chained to him, like his slaves. You're enslaved to that addiction, which is true. Okay. And then the tower card is, and that's also like to watch out for electricity. Mm-hmm. If you get the tower card, like because that lightning, and if you look at the cards and you use it like as a focal point, I don't know, you zone in. Mm-hmm. Is that a good word to use? You kind of zone in to get that, whatever comes to you. But it doesn't work all the time. Right. Like some people automatically expect you just to be, okay, and you could be totally off because it's just not coming to you. Right.
Yes, there are things that aren't clear to me yet. Automatically, I'm not going to see everything from 3 months from now because I have my own stuff that I'm like trying to process in my mind. I think a lot of the times, people aren't in tune to that because there are things that I know Dana picks up on all the time.
Usually, like as far as tarot cards, since we're talking about tarot cards, the wands represent work.
Or the cups represent love.
Yes, the diamonds or,
money.
And so you can use, like I've had someone read my fortune with playing cards. Because the diamonds represent the coins. The
wands represent work.
The clubs.
Yes.
Like she read with just regular playing cards. So that's like just the minor arcana.
Yes.
There wasn't, and the kings and the jacks and whatever.
Whereas the major arcana, they represent deity, beliefs.
Right, justice, the devil.
You want to use minor
the lovers.
To represent people. And
about the major and the minor arcana, do you use them both together, or do you prefer just the major? Or
if people have, sometimes I will have people that request the major one, major reading by themselves. But for the most part, I use them both together.
Right, because if you get a lot of major, that means different than the minor. That's a sign.
The thing that I hate the most is when I'm doing a reading and I only get minor cards. That is kind of difficult, but I always can pick up on their feelings either way, so I just move on and use something else, But that can be an issue. But let me tell you about one of my favorite spells, Amos Veritas. It's the spell of true love, and this was a spell I put on Trent. It is a spell that is you make a list of all your favorite characteristics of a person. Mm-hmm. You want this person to be funny. It's the spell from Practical Magic. That's a real spell. It's Latin for true love. You make a list of all these characteristics, like I put brown eyes, somebody I wanted to make me laugh, Yeah. And then you put it into a bowl, and you take a bath with this list of things, and you are supposed to have an orange flower swimming in the bath with you, but that's one of my favorite spells.
So would you say that just like everything's connected energy-wise, and then you're just helping it along, or?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that we are just a small dot in the bigger grand scheme of everything.
Right. Yeah.
But we are all connected.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part about being an empath. I can feel if somebody is having an off day. I can pick up on whether or not someone's in love, just had sex.
Right.
That's a big
Like
one.
last night when I was like, everybody's off a little bit. And it's because I was like, did something happen? Because I wasn't here. But everybody was just a little off. I can feel that. And I feel things from people. That's trust in your intuition. That's what it's about. I mean, really. And, I don't know. I feel things off people. Like if they're, I don't know, I'm just in tune like that. But that doesn't happen overnight. You have to learn to trust yourself and listen. However, that it's not because I used to think, what's that mean? Does that mean there's a voice in your ear?
Right.
I can't describe it, but you have to listen.
So, is it something that you think is sort of hereditary, or do you think it's something that's inside everyone that you just have to nurture, if that makes any sense.
I used to think that it was hereditary because, my grandma and my father.
I think maybe that makes it stronger, but I think everybody possesses that.
That's another thing. I'm really good at predicting genders. A girl at work was 2 weeks pregnant, and I said, "You're having a boy," and, she came up to me 4 months later when she found out. She was like, "I don't know how."
People, I think, possess different things
that they're
as
good
far
at,
as... Yeah. Because I've just recently, kind of gotten really close with someone that is a comforter, and it's exhausting a lot.
Very
when
exhausting. Sometimes when I do my readings, I go home and I sit in bed and I lay in bed for weeks at a time. It can take a lot out of you.
Especially if you see a bad person.
Yes, and some of the
you
can
when
just
you tell when people are they have bad intents.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Or just a bad, dirty soul.
Yes.
I mean,
feel
just
it. Like the
I'm
grime.
not a villain,
The grime. No,
Okay.
You're a very positive soul.
No.
Yeah. You feel the
and I have to be
grime on
around.
their soul.
Yeah, I have to be around people a little longer than I'm not zone in that
the type of people I usually have that dirty soul feeling are pathological liars. People that steal to get what they want.
Just not a good person.
Yeah,
you can. Yeah, you can just feel it. It's.
That's creepy. You guys just opened up our whole world right
now. Oh, good. I'm glad. I was like, gosh, are we going to have enough information?
Right.
So, do you just openly practice all aspects of? Yeah. How would you describe yourselves?
Well, first and foremost, I say we're empaths.
Okay.
We're empath readers. I work off what people are feeling. Our business,
which means things can change.
Yes. I do. I believe that because your feelings change. That's a big thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, things can change.
Just because you want something today doesn't mean you're going to want it tomorrow.
True.
Right.
And I've run into that a lot lately with girls I know that they'll.
A lot of times, a reading is therapy.
Yes.
Because you can.
One of my favorite
You
things.
zone into somebody you cut out all the pleasantries and you cut out the awkward first meeting. And,
yes.
Yes. Okay, if I just met you over here watching this football game, now if I see you, we will have tons of stuff to talk about.
One of my favorite readings was this thug. I mean, he was a gangster.
Oh, she had him crying. It was good.
Gosh.
Yes.
She had him in tears, honestly.
I have a question. I don't know if you can answer it or not, but in our last podcast we were talking about psychics, and she had the negative experience, and I had the negative experience, but I wanted to ask your advice on what you thought it might mean, or if you knew.
No, I totally can't give you good advice. Anytime you're with someone that it looks like they're asking you more questions than telling you things that they should already know, that's when you should get up and absolutely leave.
Well, this woman, she did not talk to me at all. She was a palm reader.
She just flipped out.
Yeah,
was that lady on...
At the school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was out of school.
Okay.
I was in kindergarten, actually. Very young, very innocent, really excited.
That's very unprofessional.
That's what I thought. It was very, she was very hateful. It went from... She's one of the most beautiful people I'd ever seen. She's real natural looking. I just loved her to death. She was the librarian at the school. Uh-huh. And by night, she was a fortune teller.
Right.
And we were doing the school function, and she was palm reading. And, my mom knew I was really excited and into that stuff, so she took me up there, and she read my mom, everything was fine. She read my sister, everything was fine. Then she got to me, she grabs my hand and starts freaking out. I have a star. The lines in my hand are a star, and she told me, she got really upset. She wouldn't talk to me or my mom. She tried to run away from us, and my mom was real violent. She grabbed her. She's like, "Why aren't you doing this?" She was so excited, she was really pissed off about it.
Right.
And the lady finally told her, she grabbed my hand real violently and put it in my mom's face and pointed to the star and said that I was of the devil.
That actually is a sign that you are a good... there's a goodness to you.
Now, all your doubts have been lifted tonight.
Don't
you feel better?
Yeah, everybody always tells me I'm a really good person.
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
So she was an idiot. Yes. Chalk that up to that. And one bad childhood memory
really
marked off.
Because that's the type of person that scares people away from what we're doing. We're trying to heal people and make people's lives better, and this person is making a child scared for the rest of their life.
Yeah, or making them feel like they're of the devil.
It stayed with me for a very long time. Like,
Obviously, it still does.
It does.
You're talking about it today. It would me too. Somebody was like, she has 666 in her head. You know, I mean, I would be like, I'm Damien the Omen.
Now I'm curious because that is my grandma always told me about it because she read palms. Anytime that there is a shape like a star, that's a good quality about a person. We need to look that up.
See, when I had mine read when I was probably 18, 19. My mom passed away when I was 17. So I thought, well, okay, if I go in there and she says anything about my mom, I'm just going to know, you know. But I went in and she basically just told me the lines on my hand didn't really add up to anything, and that she felt that I had negative energy with my dad, which is completely untrue. Me and my dad are very, we're extremely
and some
close.
people just aren't good.
Yeah.
Your dad kind of was the main person in your life that, like, he has guided you from day one.
Yeah, absolutely. My mother and I weren't close at all. And then with this, and then
that's
after
something
that,
you still struggle with.
Which hand is it?
Because you were 17 when
you
so
left.
you really didn't. I mean, you wanted her there whenever you got married, and it was really big on your wedding day.
So it goes.
Yeah, but your dad was there, and he.
Yeah. Well, and as I've gotten older, I've seen more of my mom in me, but at the time, you know what I mean?
My mom died when I was 14. I completely understand.
Yeah. But, yeah, so like I said, my only experience really with palm readers, I just felt like she was
total bullshit.
Yeah, basically.
So
did she tell you you're supposed to be dead by now?
Yeah, she told me if I didn't go to therapy that I'd be dead by now.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I was
no
like,
wonder you're a fucking skeptic.
Right.
To be fair, I used to, I didn't really go to therapy, but I used to be pretty much a pretty heavy alcoholic. And I just straight up stopped one day. I was like, I'm done with this. So, I mean,
right.
I guess maybe she was right, but I don't know. I felt like that was more my own volition.
Right.
We need to talk about this star so you can feel not cursed for the rest of your life, okay? There's obviously, I don't know that much about palmistry, but there's obviously, I know that there's like the headline, the heart line, you know, everybody's heard of that, but there's also like mound of Jupiter, mound of Saturn, there's all kinds of stuff on your palm. And the only thing that I see, there's nothing about being a devil. Nothing.
That's reassuring.
Right. It signifies a person has strong ties with rich or influential people. Life will tend to be full of challenges and obstacles. So,
my favorite card is, I don't know, we were talking, I saw one of the questions was, what is your favorite card?
Yeah.
The Ace of Cups, absolutely. It's an abundance of flowing over with love and peace and all the things you want out of life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the feel-good card.
Yes. For me it is.
I like the Ten of Cups.
Yes.
It's about
Ten
family.
Of Cups, yes.
It's about family and love, and your cup runneth over.
Yes.
You know, and that's important to me.
Me
That's
too.
my favorite. I love when I get that
We're
card.
big on family in this family.
You don't say.
I mean, this really is our life, on getting together on Sundays. The men are inside listening to watching the football game, and we're out here talking about.
And they would die. They would be looking at us like.
We get that from our
right.
significant
Well,
others.
it's, you know.
They're like, oh yeah, you're doing something. Could it not be so weird?
Right. Yeah, and you know, guys are a little more macho about this kind of stuff.
Right.
They can do more on the spot where I see things
right
in time.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of different. And because she has hidden it so much, and I am like, let's advertise. Yeah, this is good. Who cares what the people that don't? I mean, yeah, you're going to get flack from it or from anything.
And
so I'm like, I don't know. I think she pulls energy from me as far as.
A lot of the times, yeah. I don't like to read people I know, too. Like, that's a big thing for me.
Right.
It's hard.
It is very hard, and you know things coming into it. Look at all the stories of the people we've met along our journey, you know. we've touched a lot of lives. I mean,
well, I believe in reincarnation.
I do too.
Me too.
So I'm in my last phases of. I've learned a lot this life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've had a lot of lessons this life. And I've also, I mean, you know, just because I'm older, and I tell my kids this, if you don't deal with something, like, say you're a procrastinator, if you don't go ahead and fix that, that's going to keep on coming around to you. That problem's going to keep coming around to you until you get it right. Like, you know, it's a cycle. And I feel like that also our lives are a cycle until you are the whole being that you need to be. And then I don't know what happens to you after that.
Right.
You get eternal paradise. I don't know what happens to you after that, but that's what I feel like life is about.
I have a weird thing to say, I guess. And actually, very recently,
Totally would not be
someone
weird,
told
guys.
me that I was going to go to hell because I believed this. Okay. So I'm really big in reincarnation too. And I honestly think that in my past life I was a doctor because I can just talk to people and I'll be like, oh, you have mono, you should go to a doctor.
Right.
Or just like, I just pick up on things really easily, but I don't have any medical training whatsoever. No one in my family, whatever.
That could be your gift.
Maybe. That's weird. But do you think it would have something to do with the past life, or am I just crazy?
I do. I'm a very big believer. I think we've recycled so many different lives that there's no way.
If you believe in reincarnation, you need to watch a movie, and it's called Ivy Rose.
Okay.
It's a very old movie. It was powerful to me. I haven't watched it in a long time. I watched it when I was younger, so, you know, sometimes you go back on those movies that meant so much to you, and you're like, that was cheesy. But it's about this little girl, and she burnt in a car accident with her mother, and her father went to a party and he met someone and he was like, your daughter is somewhere, and they had a lot of money, so he found this girl, and now her name was Audrey Rose. Her name was Ivy Templeton, and then it was Audrey Rose. And she would have nightmares, and she would go and beat on the window and say, help, help, daddy, daddy, help, help. And it was so real that her palms became burnt, and it's all based off a true story.
Oh, wow.
Right. Audrey Rose. That's what it is.
Look that up.
Yeah. That's what kind of sparked my reincarnation.
Right.
You know, like my first experience of knowing something about it. I was young when I watched that movie. But anyway, watch that movie. It's good.
I will definitely watch that movie.
You want to tell them the name of our business?
Yes.
Moonbow Beam. Dana came up with this a few months ago. It was called Moonbow Beams. It has to do with Kentucky because
You know, we have the Moonbow.
Yes.
And I don't know of anywhere else that really has that.
I don't think
What
there
is
are
a
very many
moonbow?
people.
It's a rainbow from the moon, and
I thought that was really
it's Cumberland Gap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
thought it was
actually
really
seen
special
it once.
because
Really?
you know, in Kentucky you wouldn't think that there would be people that do this, you know. So I wanted it to be a Kentucky name, you know.
Right.
Or
So
something.
how can people get in touch with you guys for this whole thing?
Facebook.
She's the Facebook queen.
Well, we'll definitely link to you guys.
I'm a little more low key.
Yeah, she hates Facebook.
Aw.
I don't hate Facebook. I just don't do what May does on Facebook. No offense, but
I
I mean,
don't think
I'm
anyone does what I do on Facebook.
She's a
man.
like whore.
I was telling Jamie on the way here, we stopped at Denny's, you know, and she
Are you
was
okay,
like,
Caroline?
so is she going to be like, she's like, is she like quiet? And I was like, no. And like I pulled up your Facebook and I was like, there's videos of her singing on here. There's all kinds of stuff. She's wild.
Yeah, May's I'm a little more reserved.
I mean,
I'm
work
older.
at a
I
bank.
have kids.
Oh, I wanted to talk about your writing too. I'm gonna throw that in there.
Yeah. Well, right now I've written a book. I've written a few books, and the first one was about our life together and what we experienced on East 26th Street because we used to live together in the same house, but it was connected.
It was separate. It was a big house. They had the upstairs, and I had the
And it
downstairs.
was
So theirs was like kind of a loft.
Yes. It was during Trent and I's first year of marriage.
Ugh.
And I mean,
That face is.
Which we would sneak down into Dana's house, and it was our first year of marriage, so we didn't have a fucking job or nothing.
Right.
It was right after the Obama election, because we were working with the KDP at the time. Well, after that, we didn't have a job.
Right when it's over, it's over.
Yes.
Right.
And so
You won or you lost.
Right.
We would sneak down to her house, and we would, like, eat all of her food. And she'd be like, who the fuck is eating my food? Where is all this food? Didn't I just go to the grocery yesterday?
Oh my gosh.
I would always replace it, though, in my defense.
There you go.
Yeah, it all worked out.
We went to New Orleans. And, you want to tell that story? That was pretty funny.
No.
Oh, it was like a scene from The Craft. There were dead fish all
Oh,
over
yeah.
the beach.
They
Oh,
were.
no.
We got sand chiggers.
Yes.
I didn't even know there was
gosh.
such a thing as sand.
And her
They're terrible.
her and Trent kept getting in a fight at gas stations.
Yeah, every gas station. Like, I threw the GPS at him, and we were screaming at each other in Louisiana and Alabama. I mean, we were going at it. Like, I've got Bluetooth in my car, so, like, one time I was at the gas station, and we were on the phone, but it's throughout my whole speakers. So I'm like, fuck yeah. And everybody's, like, walking by going,
And then I have a blog called
It wasn't funny
Up
at the
Close.
time.
It was not funny at the time, but we are a family where we'll go through something and then we'll laugh about it like a week later.
sometimes more than a week. Yeah.
But we always do that
it's
to each
always-
other.
Yeah.
I have a blog where I talk about my problems with conceiving and my problems with my miscarriages. Trent was suicidal for a minute. I have a blog, Up Close and Uncomfortable, that I've talk about a lot of my life in that. And then I'm working on a story right now about a woman that is married to two men, and she has a completely different life going on. Where, like, she met this guy when she was 16, and then her second marriage is to this guy that she met on a business trip, and so but she's in love with both these guys, so that's going to be done pretty soon. But
That sounds awesome.
Hopefully we'll see it published this time. I love you, Samantha. I'm so glad we got to do this. You were probably one of my favorite people in the entire world.
So, what did you guys think? She's pretty great, right? You thought she was great, right, Jamie?
She was definitely great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. If you guys want to reach out to them, we have linked Megan's Facebook page to our page. And we'll continue to link it after this has been posted, just so it stays fresh. Also, we want to talk a little bit about what projects we have coming up. We have reached out to the fellas of R&R Podcast for an interview, so we hope to be getting in touch with them fairly soon.
Yep, very cool guys.
Yeah, their podcast is really cool, and they're really funny.
They are very funny.
Yeah. Their podcast is mainly about horror movies, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. The one I listened to was about horror movies, so I figured, but...
Yeah, very, very, the way their podcast is, they have a very interesting way of describing these movies. They have a lot of comical stuff in their podcast. They're just very cool, very mellow guys.
Exactly. We definitely think that if you enjoy our podcast, you will enjoy theirs. Mm-hmm. They also started up around the same time we did, so they're an upstart podcast. If you want to listen to them, you'll be one of the cool kids who found them first, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So check that out. We also have a podcast about hauntings coming up. You'll want to check that out. Not quite sure which one we're going to do first, but we'll let you guys know on our page what we have coming up.
And that was a favorite of the poll we did. We put out a poll to see what you wanted to hear next, and everybody chose hauntings. So there you go.
We are catering to you guys. We hope that you enjoy the hauntings we enjoy, and we'll touch on others too if you decide you want more. Let us know. Hit us up on Facebook. We're always open to suggestions. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that is our podcast this week. Check us back next week. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. And you can always email us at chroniclesofthearcane@outlook.com. Thanks, guys. See you next time.